It's been a while again. Today I'm going to show you several steps. It may take some videos, so it can be possible it's not all in one. But I'm going to show you how to make the most awesome medium ever, comics. When I was a little kid, it started like, it didn't even look like a comic. But yeah, it's a lot of fun and you can express yourself very well. And I'm going to explain to you all kinds of forms of comics and how you have to set it up and plot and everything. I will be with you every step of the way. You will hear my voice entirely, so no music this time. And I hope you will enjoy it and most of all learn a lot from it. And if you enjoy drawing just like me, just draw. And even when you think you suck, when you do it more, you will suck less. First off, I want to show you what kind of genres comics you're able to make with just only frames. First one I want to show you is the 3-frame one. This is formerly used in gag comics. So you see them in newspapers. Sometimes you have small little books like Garfield who are gag comics. You usually make them like this, but then turned. And later on you can either cut them in half or just scan them in and cut them in half after coloring them in digitally. Then you have the second one, the equal frame comic. I made 6 for example, but you can also make 8, 10, there are even comics with 12 equal squares as a comic. I will recommend to use between 6 or 8 frames, because if you use more frames, the size you have to tell your story, the character's environment will become smaller, and this makes that comics get very crowded quickly. When you have a very simplistic comic, you may be able to draw with more frames, but personally I would say no. This is a good way of showing a slice of life comic, a webcomic maybe even, also gag comics, but then on the long run. We have some magazines here, Libella or Marfit, with comics like that. And then you have the free-for-all comic. Yes, Smash Bros. Reference. I made several examples here. For example, you don't need to use black and white. I always use a safety frame for when you scan. That's also what you saw here. You don't need to do it, but it can be very clean when you scan it, and nice for you to know whether you scanned all of your drawings right. Sometimes there's like a cut here and then you know I need to scan it one more time. So you're not bound in using only white. You can also do a black frame or only do white frames, or like this, combine it with each other and do a black frame that overlaps a white frame, or the other way around. As you can see, the sizes of all the frames are different. There's even a rounded shaped frame. I would recommend that a rounded shaped frame is good to get the attention of the reader to that one thing, and it can explain maybe an object or an emotion of a person, so you know that in maybe the next page or the upcoming frame something that's important for the story will happen. Then I made this frame. This may seem kind of odd, but there is a minimal kind of line in it, but there are things sticking out. This is a rough sketch, but you can use this when there's like an eerie scene or something terrible is gonna happen, or maybe a dream scene, an evil scene with a bad guy. Everything is possible. And what I like with the free-for-all frame, you can really focus on anything. You can also make it like the frame doesn't have like what you see in these sides. It has something open, and that's good for an opening scene and an ending scene. I didn't do it here, but I do recommend it because the reader or at least when you go through a comic, it's more bonded. You want to look further than, yeah, have something like it's too much closed in and chilled. So that's one thing. Another thing that's really important are the page numbers and your initials. You sometimes have that you browse through the web and you see some kind of internet name and you can't really find the person who made it because either the account is gone or the person never refers to that name anymore. So always use your real initial and real handwriting and a signature. What you have with comic artists is normally that there's one specific signature that can be also used as your sign or your initials together. For me that's easy, so like you will get this, but because this is very short and easy to copy, I always put somewhere in the comic my signature, just to be sure. And sometimes with paintings I do use my full name, but that's up to you, it's not necessary. And the longer you use, like, it can be anything. It can also be like your name, your handwriting needs to be recognizable. So it's not smart if you do like a very detailed, that's not a smart idea, because you need to copy this all the way, and you can make it on the computer, but it doesn't seem very comic-like. It's more what people illustrate and like to edit stuff on computer, I think. Don't do this on comics. Just use a short kind of signature, and if you have an easy signature that can be stolen easily, also use the normal sign and page number. So that's very important. Further, your materials is always a very important kind of thing to use. For frames, I mostly use either fine liner or marker. This isn't because I can't do this with ink or digital, but I just prefer to do it by hand, but as efficient as possible. You need to decide for yourself what kind of material you like most. When I'm drawing and inking my characters, I use this pencil, and this isn't just a normal pencil with gray, but it's a special kind of blue that you can't see on the scanner. It's called non-rainbow blue, and this one is a 0.5 millimeter pencil. You either have them as a real pencil or for refills for these kinds of pens. So if you're like, oh, I don't like these kinds of pens to draw with, you can also get them like normally. I must say they are expensive. I was very lucky. I got them from my internship as a birthday gift. After that, this is my best friend for making comics, East Indian ink. You also have other kinds of inks, because this kind of ink has some kind of acid that makes your pen like a rust easier, so your pen won't be useful as long as an ink that doesn't have acid. And with these, you need to equip them with these larger ones. You can draw fine with these, and they're good for if you want to draw a comic very fast. The advantage of this one, you have a huge difference with pressure between the thin line and the thick line. So you can make very fun things with it. Lately I've been drawing a lot with this smaller pen, just because, not really a particular reason, just I really like using this pen. And the other kind of material you can use, and this is the more authentic way, is the pencil. With the pencil, you need to practice well. Why? well, it's a brush, that's one thing. Second thing, for example, when you make round shapes, your hand normally isn't moving, well, very straight. For straight lines, you can use a liner, a ruler. But for round lines, yeah, you can't really equip this brush and make a completely round line equally. You need to practice your hand, so you can move your hand as still as possible. You have several techniques for it, and every single hand is different. My internship did something like this and move very slowly. I just take my time. I have my head very close to the paper and just draw over the line I drew before and focus on the pressure I push on the brush. I practiced this a long time on just regular paper and small papers, just to make my hand as still as possible, and I'm still practicing it. The advantage of the brush is that you can create very much swoosh in your line, so there will be more dynamic. More so than with the pen, you will have more difference and more natural-like flow in the line. I think this is the best brush to use for either very minimalistic comics or the adventure comics, just because you can create so much swoosh in it, and if you can get your hand as still as possible, you can have a very, very minimalistic comic with it. So one thing with the brush, before you use it, this one has never been used before, put it under warm cold water to make the glue that's on it, that makes it look stiff, disappear. This doesn't mean that you need to ruin your brush. You need to do it very gently and just let it flow out in the do make every equipment you use with East Indian ink or ink clean fast, because when it hardens you are practically screwed. Like I said, most of the ink has acid, so what you get with the pen is that it will rust and you won't be able to erase all the residues of the ink, and that also influences the quality of your pen and the sharpness and the lights you're able to make. Then you have a brush. When you use ink that hasn't been made a bit thinner with water, so that it's like water resistant, it will dry off very soon. So when a brush is dried up with East Indian ink, it's pretty much useless. So this was it for the first lesson of how to draw comics. I hope you enjoyed it, and while you hear my voice, you would have probably seen some examples of comics of my own. And I will see you next time.